just by someone who's a very wise Christian guide and much more down to earth than Edwards, but a good complement to Edwards. That Edwards did the high theology, and Lewis thinks about the common sense ways this relates to everyday life. I see the purpose of particularly the Lewis work is trying to communicate to other Christians what is it in Lewis that's really valuable, and what should they notice, and so if it's edifying for me, then how can I relay that to an audience and communicate that to an audience?
对于中国乃至今天许多信奉科学实证和存在主义的人，基督教被贴上宗教、落后、迷信的标签。作为基督徒学者，马斯登指出，基督教学术研究需要发出声音。
One thing is to push back against the prejudice that religious views are backward or out of date, and I think Alvin Plantinga and Walterstorff and so forth, people who have shown that religious points of view are just as intellectually legitimate as other points of view. So I think there's a strong argument for the legitimacy of Christian scholarship. Then I don't know the Chinese situation. You do need institutions or supporting networks of people to work with, and for me it's been very important to be a lot of my intellectual shaping, as I said, took place at Calvin College and in a community of scholars. And then there's also these days a network that you don't have to be physically in the same place to have a network of like-thinking people that you can support or be supported by. So I think it's very important to build those sorts of networks and organizations and institutions, if you can, to try to build Christian scholarship. And then I think there are also it's important for all of us these days to see it as an international project, that it's not it's not. We can learn from Chinese can learn from other people, and there are a lot of Christianity is a worldwide religion, global Christianity, and there's all sorts of resources to learn from, to see yourself not in just a little parochial group, but you're connected to people all over the world. I see the strengths and the weaknesses of the church in our time are very closely related. And the Protestant church, and particularly evangelicalism, is very adaptable to all sorts of cultural settings. And that's wonderful, and it's a source of growth and the reason why it can manage in China in very different circumstances from what we have here. But it also leads to a sort of in this country particularly, a sort of market-driven dimension where whatever works is what people go to, and so rather than having good leadership sort of stepping back and saying, here's where we should be going, we're going where it's easiest to go very often. And so I see partly the role of scholars is to try to get a voice in saying, how can we be more thoughtful in the directions that we're going.
作为拥有悠久历史和独特文化的中国，基督教在中国走过的发展之路，同样让马斯登感慨和敬畏。
I think there's a need for historians of China's, Christianity in China. There is a remarkable history of Christianity in China, and to figure out how that all happened in relation to the Chinese situation and what makes Chinese Christianity unique, and what needs to be done, and how do you understand different manifestations of it. All those things are tasks that scholars can pick up, and so it's a different cultural situation than I've experienced, but it's the same kinds of questions. How's God working in this peculiar cultural setting in sometimes very troubling times? But there are you need some people who step back and take and have some perspective to offer to everybody. You have to, first of all, admire people who are willing to go to other parts of the world to be missionaries, and then, as you know, the impact on other cultures is sometimes a mix, and I think that's probably always been an issue in Chinese culture. You have a very sophisticated culture, and then you have Westerners who came there thinking, okay, we can improve these people. And I think the one thing I know about history of missions is the better people are the missionaries are at some point stepping back and putting it in the hands of the people, the people on the scene, and the native people who are native to the region. The better missions go. So again, I think intellectual humility is one of the dimensions of what we should be doing that has to be matched with some sort of intellectual confidence in being grounded in what you believe. But I think the two are complementary from a Christian perspective, and I think that's one way in which Christian perspectives differ from a lot of ideologically based perspectives, which tend to be absolutist and simply celebrate their own tradition and denigrate everybody else. There are, I think, for anyone who is thoughtful, you're constantly negotiating with challenges to your faith to some degree. But I think also you can have a confidence that if you trust in God, that's the best you can do, and hope that that's the right thing to be doing.